Welcome, Taurus. It's the month in focus, September to be exact, 2012. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au. People hate it when I respond honestly when they say, please tell me the truth about my horoscope. This month I have to be honest with you and say that the placement of Mars and Saturn, especially near your relationship house, Saturn being in your relationship house vicinity and Mars actually being in there, is not a good omen for the free flow of energy between you and your most significant other. So how you deal with that, I think, is going to be an important focus for you this month. Even the aspect of Jupiter is not going to be sort of that useful to you because it's a bit far away from the what's called the acceptable orb. So in other words, you've got these two very, very diametrically opposed planets, Mars and Saturn, sitting either side of the line of Scorpio, which rules your marriage and relationships and that sort of thing. We also see that the Mercury-Sun combination that takes place very early in the month occurs in your zone of romance and love affairs. So it's interesting, that's not a bad combination, although it is opposite Neptune, so it can show some problems associated with friends, maybe the way they perceive the way you're handling your relationships. You don't want to say too much to them. You can't please all of the people all of the time. At the end of the day, even if you're getting advice from people, you really need to make the decision yourself. And I think you do have to make some decisions in that area this month. Look at the right angle square of your ruling planet Venus to Saturn. There's an additional testimony to what I'm saying. Now that happens on the 3rd of September, very early in the month as well. So that's triggering all of this relationship energy and the frustration that may go along with that combination. Also, I might have mentioned in the last couple of readings for you that the position of the North Node, what the Hindus call Rahu, also made its retrograde or reverse motion entrance into this same sector. This is a very powerful karmic point. It's not actually a planet, but it casts a shadow over relationships. So yes, we can say that the Mars and the Saturn are going to give you that overt external level of challenge or difficulty, but it's this undercurrent that I'm looking at here. And this is approximately an 18-month cycle, just commencing now, Taurus. So I'd say that you really need to focus on relationships. You need to ask yourself what it is you're doing in a relationship, what you want out of that relationship. Often you keep your cards pretty close to your chest. And this month it may be made more difficult for you because of that reason. This placement of Mars in the zone of relationships indicates to me that someone may prompt, or better word for that is prod you into addressing issues you don't really want to address. Sometimes that is a particularly difficult Taurian trait. You don't necessarily like change that much. So especially in relationships which, if they've felt at least externally or in the realm of security safe, then that could be challenged this month. The Mercury aspects this month, and Mercury relates to communication. That's a very friendly planet to you, and again rules your love affairs sector, your creativity, and also in some systems of astrology, your future karma. That's also undergoing some pretty stressful transits. Look at that, the 5th, although that's a very nice aspect, it's still to Pluto, which has to do with regeneration, with looking underneath the surface, going into investigation mode, or you yourself may be interrogated for something. So even the favourable aspects are tough. You have the aspect to Jupiter, hard aspect on the 9th, Then you've got Mercury itself moving into this relationship house. Now, there's a principle in astrology that says when we have these hard aspects, these are the outer planets, Saturn. Mars is not too outer, but it's still reasonably slow moving. Mercury's a quicker planet. It activates those planets, and that happens on the 17th. So these relationship tensions that I'm talking about, although they're there under the surface, they may flare up at that time. That's how these quicker moving planets operate. They actually trigger what's there as a promise in your horoscope. So you need to have your best diplomatic cap on at that time, not react too much to what's brought up, what's thrown at you. It may actually be thrown at you because Mars is a very forceful planet. So whoever you're in a relationship with at this time, and mind you, for those of you that aren't actually in a relationship, this deals with people generally. You may find it around the middle of the month. You're just going to be reactive. You're just not going to want to take any shit from anyone, really. So it's important to contain yourself at that time. Square to Uranus, square to Pluto, these are the transpersonal planets. To add insult to injury, along with your personal issues, there may be some stuff out of your control at that time. That's around the 23rd of September. 24th, Moon also makes hard aspects to Mercury and Saturn. So these are the dates that we can punctuate the month with some of those dates where you can see this particular theme recurring. And you had Mars there last month, Saturn not yet in there. That we have to address shortly, maybe next month, because Saturn is a much slower moving planet that's going to really, really bed down and take you for an interesting roller coaster ride through the world of relationships over the next couple of years. So maybe this is a preparatory period for you. Maybe it's just getting you ready for what's coming. Hopefully you're going to pass some of these tests. There is a very passionate aspect with your ruling planet Venus on the 27th of September, towards the very end of the month. That's passionate, that's hot, but again, it's a hard aspect. So let me put it to you that perhaps that romantic cocktail, and astrologers say Mars and Venus, yeah, the male and the female, when they have a contact normally are very sexy, but this may not be for the right reasons. So we see all of that backlog of emotional stuff happening, as I've mentioned, and then bingo, this little punctuation by Venus and Mars. Tight aspect, excessive sexual drive, premature, I'm not going to say ejaculation, don't make me say that. Premature involvement. It could be hasty involvement. That may be premature ejaculation, I don't know if that's your problem. But generally speaking, no. It just seems to be a reaction to some of this other stuff that's going on in your life. And if you're up to the test, the Sun and Pluto right angle or square, which occurs on the 30th, is going to really test you to shine the light of inquiry in on yourself. Have a look at where you're at in this whole process. It's going to be easy for you to throw all of this back at the other person to retaliate, but just remain silent, be quiet, look at what this is saying about yourself. What are the changes that are required? Actually, this is the only major issue that a Taurian like yourself has to deal with. That is the issue of change. Everything is basically pushing you on the path to change, and that, if you see it in the correct way, is a form of transition or transformation of yourself. So attitude is everything here this month. I look forward to your company next month. In the meantime, visit me at astrology.com.au and you can get a whole lot of other stuff there. We have some more textual-based information for you, Taurus, on your month of September. More detail on those aspects that I've just touched on right now. And I'll look forward to your company there. Take care now. Till next month. Bye-bye.